Jessica Pegula just did something remarkable. She destroyed Iga Swiatek 6-4, 7-5 on grass to win the Bad Homburg title, extending Swiatek's year-long title drought. But this isn't just about one match. This result has massive implications for Wimbledon, especially for Coco Gauff, who could potentially face a struggling Swiatek in the quarterfinals. Today we're breaking down how Pegula exposed Swiatek's grass court weaknesses, why this is fantastic news for Gauff fans, and what it reveals about the shifting power dynamics in women's tennis.
This match was a masterclass in surface-specific tactics. Pegula said before the final, "I hit pretty low and flat, hopefully that'll disrupt her rhythm." That's exactly what happened. Swiatek's heavy topspin game, which is devastating on clay, becomes a liability on grass. Pegula neutralized Swiatek's biggest weapon and exposed fundamental issues with her grass court adaptation.
The statistics tell the story perfectly. Swiatek hit 9 aces but got broken twice and only created 1 break point all match. Meanwhile, Pegula held serve throughout and converted 2 of 5 break chances. On grass, that's the difference between winning and losing. Swiatek's return position and court positioning were all wrong for the surface.
For Coco Gauff fans, this should be music to your ears. Remember our analysis of Gauff's brutal Wimbledon draw. We identified a potential quarterfinal against Swiatek as a major threat. But after watching Swiatek get systematically dismantled by Pegula's low, flat hitting style, a strategy that leverages her strengths on grass, that potential matchup suddenly looks much more winnable. Gauff, with her powerful, flat backhand and aggressive court presence, possesses key tools to similarly disrupt Swiatek on this surface. Let's start with the brutal reality. Iga Swiatek hasn't won a title since the 2024 French Open. That's over a year ago. This Bad Homburg final was her first final of 2025, and she couldn't get it done. Dr. Rodriguez, what does this title drought tell us about Swiatek's current state?
It reveals a player in transition who's struggling with confidence and adaptation. Swiatek has reached multiple semifinals this year, Australian Open, Madrid, French Open, but she can't get over the line. She's been dealing with personal issues, coaching changes, and now the surface transition to grass exposes technical flaws. When a player of her caliber consistently falls short in big moments, it's more than just bad luck.
The grass court element is crucial here. Swiatek has never been past the quarterfinals at Wimbledon in 5 attempts. She's admitted grass is her weakest surface, and this Bad Homburg loss confirms it. When she said after the match, "Hopefully there is hope for me on grass," that's not exactly confidence-inspiring language from a 5-time Grand Slam champion.
Let's analyze how Pegula tactically destroyed Swiatek. She said her plan was to hit low and flat to disrupt Swiatek's rhythm. Looking at the match stats, Pegula won 68.1% of service points versus Swiatek's 63.8%. More importantly, Pegula faced only 1 break point all match. How did she achieve this dominance?
Pegula's strategy was perfect for grass. Her low, flat shots stay low on the grass surface, making it difficult for Swiatek to generate her preferred high top spin. Swiatek thrives on rhythm and building points with heavy spin, but grass doesn't allow for that. Pegula essentially turned this into a different sport, more about first-strike tennis and court positioning than rally construction.
The serving statistics are telling. Despite Swiatek hitting 9 aces to Pegula's 3, she still lost both sets. That shows Swiatek was hitting big serves but couldn't follow them up with effective grass court patterns. Pegula, meanwhile, was surgical, fewer aces but much more consistent service games and better return positioning.
Now let's connect this to Coco Gauff. In our previous analysis, we identified Swiatek as a potential quarterfinal opponent for Gauff at Wimbledon. Many saw this as a nightmare scenario, given Swiatek's historical dominance over Gauff. But after this Bad Homburg result, should Gauff fans be celebrating?
Absolutely, Gauff's game style possesses key elements that mirror Pegula's winning strategy against Swiatek. While Gauff's forehand often has more top spin, her backhand is notably flat and penetrating. Critically, she's excellent at taking balls early, redirecting pace, and she's comfortable playing aggressive first-strike tennis on grass. If Swiatek struggled this much against Pegula's tactics, especially with that low ball, Gauff has the tools, particularly with her backhand and overall aggression, to pose similar problems.
Plus, Gauff has psychological momentum over Swiatek right now. She beat her 6-1, 6-1 in Madrid just weeks ago, a result so dominant it left Swiatek in tears. That kind of psychological damage doesn't disappear quickly. If they meet at Wimbledon, Gauff will remember that beatdown, and Swiatek will remember how helpless she felt.
Let's talk about the broader context. This was Swiatek's first grass court final ever, and she couldn't capitalize. She's now 24 years old and still hasn't figured out how to play on grass at the highest level. Is there a window closing for her to become a complete player?
It's concerning for her long-term legacy. Great players adapt to all surfaces. Look at Serena Williams, who won on everything. Look at how quickly Gauff adapted from hard courts to clay to win the French Open. Swiatek has now had 5 years to figure out grass, and she's making the same mistakes. At some point, it becomes a fundamental technical limitation rather than just inexperience.
The technical issues are clear. Her ball striking technique works on clay because the surface grabs the ball and allows for high bounces. On grass, the ball skids through low and her top spin becomes less effective. She needs to flatten out her shots and adjust her court positioning, but after 5 years, those changes should have happened already.
For Jessica Pegula, this victory is huge heading into Wimbledon. She's now won titles in Berlin and Bad Homburg on grass, establishing herself as a legitimate threat. How dangerous is Pegula at Wimbledon 2025?
Very dangerous. She's 31 years old at the peak of her powers and has clearly figured out grass court tennis. Her game translates perfectly aggressive returns, low ball striking, and excellent court coverage. She reached the Wimbledon quarterfinals last year and has now won back-to-back grass titles. She's flying under the radar while players focus on Sabalenka and Gauff.
Pegula also has the mental edge now. Beating Swiatek, even a struggling Swiatek in a final, gives her enormous confidence. She's proven she can beat top-level players on grass when it matters. That kind of validation is invaluable going into Wimbledon. She could be the dark horse everyone overlooks.
Let's discuss the psychological impact on Swiatek. She was in tears after this loss, and she admitted afterward that she still has hope for grass courts. For a 5-time Grand Slam champion to be talking about hope rather than confidence, what does that tell us about her mindset?
It reveals someone who's lost confidence in her ability to solve this puzzle. When elite athletes start talking about hope instead of expectations, it's a red flag. Swiatek is used to dominating opponents, but grass makes her feel vulnerable and uncertain. That mental state is devastating for someone at her level, especially heading into Wimbledon where confidence is everything.
The tears were telling too. This wasn't just disappointment about losing a final. This was frustration about her inability to crack the grass court code. She's probably wondering if she'll ever figure it out. That kind of doubt can be crippling for a player who's used to feeling invincible on other surfaces.
Now let's get specific about the Gauff-Swiatek potential quarterfinal. Based on what we just saw, how should Gauff approach that match if it happens?
Copy Pegula's blueprint exactly. Hit low and flat, especially on the backhand side. Attack Swiatek's second serve aggressively. Don't allow her to dictate rallies with topspin. Most importantly, play with confidence and aggression from the first point. Swiatek is vulnerable right now, and Gauff has recent psychological dominance over her.
Gauff should also use her superior movement on grass. While Swiatek struggles with the surface, Gauff moves naturally on grass and can cover the court effectively. If she can extend rallies and force Swiatek to hit extra shots, the errors will come. Swiatek is pressing right now, trying to end points too quickly.
Let's zoom out to the bigger picture. Swiatek was supposed to be the next dominant force in women's tennis, but she's now gone over a year without a title. Meanwhile, Gauff just won the French Open and is gaining confidence. Are we witnessing a changing of the guard?
It certainly feels that way. Gauff is 21 and improving rapidly, while Swiatek at 24 seems to have plateaued. Gauff has now proven she can win on different surfaces and handle pressure. Swiatek, despite her 5 Grand Slams, is showing vulnerability when faced with players who can match her intensity and tactical awareness.
The mental aspect is huge. Gauff is gaining confidence while Swiatek is losing it. In tennis, momentum and belief matter enormously. Right now, Gauff believes she can beat anyone anywhere, while Swiatek is questioning her grass court future. That psychological shift could define the next era of women's tennis.
Looking ahead to Wimbledon specifically, how should we now view the women's draw? Does Swiatek's struggles change the tournament favorites?
Absolutely, Sabalenka was already the betting favorite, and this confirms her status. Gauff moves up significantly because her potential quarterfinal opponent is now exposed as vulnerable. Pegula becomes a legitimate dark horse. Meanwhile, Swiatek drops from potential champion to someone who might struggle to reach the second week.
The draw also becomes more open. If Swiatek can't capitalize on favorable positions, it creates opportunities for other players. Elena Rybakina, Pegula, even players like Madison Keys could benefit from Swiatek's uncertainty. Sometimes one player's weakness becomes everyone else's opportunity.
Finally, let's make some predictions. Dr. Rodriguez, if Gauff and Swiatek meet in the Wimbledon quarterfinals, who wins and why?
Gauff wins in straight sets. She has the tactical blueprint from Pegula, the psychological advantage from Madrid, and the surface suits her game better than Swiatek's. Swiatek will try to be aggressive early, but when that doesn't work, she'll become frustrated and the errors will pile up. Gauff just needs to stay patient and professional.
I agree with straight sets, but I think it'll be closer than the Madrid match. Wimbledon pressure affects everyone differently, but ultimately, Gauff's confidence and surface comfort give her a clear edge over a Swiatek who's openly admitted she's still trying to figure out grass courts. The momentum is clearly with Gauff.
Dr. Rodriguez, Maria, thank you for this analysis. To summarize, Jessica Pegula's systematic destruction of Iga Swiatek at Bad Homburg has completely changed the Wimbledon landscape. Swiatek's year-long title drought continues, her grass court struggles are now exposed, and she enters Wimbledon with more questions than answers.
For Coco Gauff fans, this is the best possible news. A potential quarterfinal against Swiatek went from nightmare scenario to opportunity. Pegula provided the tactical blueprint low, flat hitting, and exposed Swiatek's fundamental technical limitations on grass. Gauff has all the tools to exploit these same weaknesses.
The psychological dynamics have completely shifted. Swiatek is vulnerable, Gauff is confident, and the surface favors aggressive, flat hitting over heavy topspin. If they meet at Wimbledon, it could be the match that officially announces Gauff as the new force in women's tennis.
This episode was brought to you by Unstructai, where we analyze the deeper implications of sports results. Today, we've seen how one match can reshape an entire tournament's dynamics. Pegula's victory over Swiatek wasn't just about winning Bad Homburg. It was about exposing fundamental flaws in a 5-time Grand Slam champion's game and creating opportunities for others. For Gauff, this result transforms a potential quarterfinal nightmare into a stepping stone toward Wimbledon glory. Sometimes the most important victories happen before the main tournament even begins. Swiatek's tears in Germany might have just paved Gauff's path to grass court success.